Just about live. I will let you know when it starts. And it started. Just about live.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to call to order the meeting of the High Point Citizens Advisory Council for September 23rd, 2021. My name is Rob Sims. I am the outgoing chair for the Citizens Advisory Council, and I would like to, excuse me guys, my video is going a little bad. So we're going to call the meeting. Would someone like to lead us in prayer?
I'll go ahead, Rob. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we honor you. We thank you for the day. Thank you, God, for just allowing us to see the day. We just thank you that this meeting is in order, and it is about the business of High Point, God. We just honor you again for it all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Boone. So as I stated before, my name is Robert Sims. I'm the outgoing chair, and at this time, I would like to introduce our incoming chair, Mr. Orrell Henry.
Thank you, Rob. Good evening, everyone. What we're going to do is we're going to follow the order of the agenda. For right now, we're still working on the minutes, so we're not going to have minutes today. However, I'm going to juggle a couple of things around, being that we have some outgoing members. So I would like to acknowledge Mr. Jim Bronert, as well as Miss Clodagh. And Jim, if you can just say a few words as you're outgoing, that'll be awesome. And then Clodagh, she can follow next as well, okay?
Well, this has been pretty much fun. I mean, I work with Michelle and her department pretty much anyway with the neighborhood group stuff, and it's been a blast. It's been a fun. I did have the option to do another term, but it's time. You know, I'm getting old, and I need some time to myself to do some things. But Orrell, I'm going to say this. I'm so proud of you. You have stepped up. With the Oakview group. You're doing a super job with the Oakview group. You and Jessica both. I'm proud of both of you guys. I couldn't ask for better. You know, the Oakview group there's some new sunshine came in the window when you and Jessica came. And I know that you're going to do a fabulous job here, which is very refreshing. I wish I was, in some ways, I wish I was staying on to see you do, because I know you're going to do fabulous. And Jessica also, and everybody else who's been elected. But I've enjoyed meeting everybody. Well, you know, you'll see me around. That's for sure. Michelle, you're going to see and hear from me. You've been hearing and seeing from me for the last 12, 14 years or whatever. So you can't escape that. But anyway, I've enjoyed everybody. This has been a very good, great learning experience. Patrick, I'm going to say hi and bye to you too, but I'll see you too, I hope. And that's really about all. You know, it's been a great learning experience. All these different experiences have helped make the Oakview group what it is. And as you know, Orrell, we're working on other things as we speak that's just, you know, above and beyond what most other groups are doing. So anyway, hang in there. I know you're going to do great. I'm proud of you. And that's really all I got to say.
Thank you, Jim. Ms. Clodagh?
Hey, well, I've really enjoyed the 2 years I've been on here. Most of it, I guess, went virtual after a few short meetings in person. I got to meet a lot of great new people, and Robert and we really enjoyed touring like the Arc and Growing High Point a few weeks ago. Just like Jim said, I'm definitely going to be around the city. It's definitely not the end for me. I've enjoyed meeting great people, and I look forward to working with everyone again still. And I definitely follow Jim and Orrell. You're going to be a great chairman, and Jessica too. And sorry, you got
birthday boy.
You're
this
fine.
is James, the birthday boy. But I'm going to say I'll see everyone again. It's not goodbye. I'll see you all again soon.
Thank you, Ms. Clota. One of the things I do want to say is both for Jim, of course, he was a former chair as well. It's been great working with Jim with the CAC, and as well now I get to work with Jim still with the Oakview Citizens Council. Ms. Clota, it's always been a pleasure, and I know we will see you there as well with that group. We will continue to still call on you guys as well, as we are evolving the community. So we will still call on you guys for different things that we may need. And as a matter of fact, I think we'll still see each other, probably even more now. So
Yeah.
But thank you. Yeah. But thank you all so much. Okay.
Thanks, Earl. Thanks, Michelle.
All right. Just to go on in the meeting, we do have a couple of folks on here that I would like to, at least for them to introduce themselves. Mr. Warren.
Good evening, all. Warren Boone, District 6.
Okay. And Doctor? I think you're muted, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, I'm at large.
Okay, thank you so much. And what we'll do at the next meeting, you will see the new officers and members of our CSC. So we will introduce everyone again at our October meeting.
Aurel, you forgot about Kishana.
Oh, is she on here? I didn't see her. Oh, I'm sorry. Kishana, can you go ahead, introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Kishana Person, and I'm new here to High Point, and I'm representing Ward 1, but I live in Ward 2.
Okay, thank you so much. I do understand as well. I represent Ward 2, but I live in Ward 4, so it's actually double duty, you will notice. But it's all about High Point, so it doesn't matter really which ward or where you live. We are here for High Point, and that's what our council is for, is we represent High Point as a whole. All right, to move forward for old business, let's go ahead and talk about the neighborhood updates. So if someone wants to start, go ahead. I'm guessing, Jim, you may want to go and talk about Oakview.
Okay, well, as always, we've got a number of activities planned. This on October 2nd, the city is doing their big cleanup, and we're going to do another one of those. The first one we did kind of on our own was super successful with over 50 people showing up. And we're going to try to reproduce that same thing on October 2nd. And then the one that I'm always proud of and anxious to get involved more is with the on October 11th. October's Domestic Violence Month, and October 11th we're doing a public forum with the best of the best in this area. We're with the Family Justice Center, the Randolph County Family Crisis Center, and also Family Services of the Piedmont. They will all have representatives there. I know we're going to have food. We've got some door prizes and stuff to give away. There's been several survivors of domestic violence who have contacted me who intend to be there. So as always, this will all be, an educational thing for people. And we just need people to, that anybody in the city is invited to come to this. This isn't just for Oakview. This is something that goes on throughout the whole city and throughout the whole world. So, and some of the other stuff is still top secret. It's stored away in Fort Knox, so I can't tell about that part, but we're still working on it.
Thank you, Jim. Is there anyone else that wants to chime in on the neighborhood updates?
I would just say, Aurel, that we have, besides Jim's group, Oakview, Burns Hill is meeting, and they're meeting in person. Washington Street is meeting, but they're meeting virtually. At some point, they may go in person also, I don't know. And London Woods is meeting, and they're meeting via phone conference. All the other neighborhoods are not meeting right now because of the pandemic. And so But they are having conversations with each other and doing some of the things that they're doing. And I would just share with the new members is that when we come down to the neighborhood updates, one of the things that we have asked CAC to do so that they can better understand what is happening in the neighborhoods and throughout the city of High Point, we asking the CAC members to go to some of the meetings that are happening in the neighborhoods and then be able to come and report back, you know, to the CAC members for those that did not go to those particular neighborhoods that that you might have went to. And so I will, on Monday night, we have our leaders, neighborhood leaders meeting. And I will find out at that point if there are any other people that are beginning to meet. And then I will update a schedule and send out to everyone with the times and everything where you can actually join those neighborhood meetings there. I would also tell you that London Woods just voted in new officers. And so they got new officers at this point. And we got to do some training with their executive team there of the new officers that's now coming in. And then our plan is to actually start calling each of the neighborhood associations and meeting with their executive teams just to be able to, you know, figure out where everybody is and where people are in their planning process, in setting their goals, looking at bylaws and stuff of that nature to see if there's things that they need to change and that stuff with the neighborhoods. Now, we do have 7 Barner students from HPU. Those students will be assigned to neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods hopefully will be working with those students to help them out with any other projects or any other things that they have going on. They have a list from me of what I feel like that they need to be doing. I will be training those students on what they need to be looking at and how they need to be talking to the leaders. But I've also asked the leaders to provide a list of things that they want those students to be doing so that we can make sure that their experience is an exciting experience and that they're learning and we're learning from the young people. And so that's where we are.
Thank you, Michelle. I think that's an excellent idea. One of the things that I recall was, especially during the height of the pandemic, and even earlier this year, those Bonner students were able to help the neighborhood groups to get online. A lot of them didn't have access or didn't know how to do Zoom and set up those meetings. So those students did really well. And from my understanding, I've seen some of those students now working for the city of High Point as well, you know, doing other things. So it was, once again, it was great, you know, to have those students from High Point University. Moving forward, I just wanted to know if there was anyone that wanted to talk about the tours that we did, agency tours. And I believe Dr. Jackson, you had one with Jessica a few weeks ago.
Yes,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Chairman Henry.
Yes.
I wanted to speak real briefly, if we can, on the Burns Hill Neighborhood Association.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
They are still doing food giveaways the first and third Thursdays of the month. And Burns Hill is also going to have a cleanup day on October the 2nd, where we're looking for volunteers to come out. We're just going to be cleaning up the streets and doing some edging. So anyone who wants to come out and join us, please come out and join us. And meetings are still the second Monday of each month. And like Michelle said, the Burns Hill neighborhood are meeting in person, and we're meeting at the Moorhead Recreation Center.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Chairman.
And there's a slogan for that edge in the street, but I can't remember what it is, like edge to success or edge to something or something. I don't know what it is.
I will check with Mr. Mingo and I will get that information to you.
Thank you, Rob. Dr. Jackson?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure I'm not on mute down here. Okay, I'm not. So we went to the Arc of High Point with, I went with Jessica, and it was amazing. It was absolutely awesome. I didn't know, if there was a protocol or format that I was supposed to follow. She was very helpful. They showed us the students that, or I like to call them students, the people that go there, they have to follow character. Even though some of them are special needs, they still are held to the same accountability with character education, as far as, telling the truth and respect, the same thing that regular citizens are responsible for. They hold those, I want to call them students, those special need community citizens responsible for their certain behaviors. And she was showing us on the wall that, they have the standards there. And that was one thing that took me by surprise, because she was talking about how, some of them kind of think because they have a little difference going on, that they don't have to do what everybody else does, that they figured out that they can get away with certain things. And I was like, what? They figured that out. She took us to the room and showed us the art that the students make, and they have like a pottery machine. And stop me if this is not the kind of stuff that I'm supposed to be reporting on, because I didn't know really what I was supposed to say to y'all. You understand?
No, you're fine. It's just brief. So yeah.
Okay, and I'm very long-winded, so I will do my best. Okay, so everything that's on the website for the Arc of High Point is really actually what's going on. The only thing I didn't see on the website that they added was their farm, their hands-on farm. They have chickens, and they take care of the chickens, and they use the eggs. They sell the stuff that they grow in the garden, and they have vegetable garden and an herb garden. So the tour was really nice. I went on dentistry day, and the dentist talked to us, Dr. Milner, he talked to us for a good long time about, who they serve and, how much money they lose by actually coming there, because they lose about $1,000 a day serving there versus in an office. But I was very grateful to go and have that experience, and I look forward to going back.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. One of the things that we will know, and I met Dr. Jackson actually last night for the first time.
Mhm.
One of the things that as she spoke, what you will notice is you kind of get the impression of what her background is, but we will know more as we go forward.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that wants to address the agency tours that they have went on either in the last couple of weeks or so? I think that was it, but I just wanted to just acknowledge anyone that did go that I'm not aware of. Okay. All right, moving forward, Mr. Rob Sims, you have been reappointed. One of the things I would like for you to do is if you can briefly talk about the NC Works yesterday, your experience.
Sure, absolutely. Yesterday evening, we had a meeting with the neighborhood leaders at the NC Works Career Center. And in that meeting, we had discussed what services are offered through NC Works, services that everyone in High Point have access to. We've got employment training, we've got emergency assistance services, as well as educational services. And another part to that meeting, we actually were able to invite people to what we call the Next Gen program. So that focuses on youth from the ages of 16 up to 24. So they do things like OJT, on the job training. They give them free training to help them get their high school diplomas and even get them into careers. The NC Works Career Center is located on North Main Street at 607 Idle Street. And we had a great turnout. I think every association showed up. We had 21 people, and it was a great time. We got to meet the center director, Mr. Thaddeus Shore, and his staff. And of course, I was there, and it was a great time.
Thank you, Rob. And this is good. Once again, the neighborhood and the neighborhood leaders was there. So it was good for them to see the program itself and how they can help their individual neighborhoods with the programs that we have for people affected in each one of our wards. On to new business. We're going to have a presentation by Dr. Patrick Harmon. He is going to talk to us about a center that he has, and it is a comprehensive community-based center designed to increase healthy food access. But rather than me talk about it, we have the man here himself, Dr. Patrick. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Yes, ma'am.
Aurel, before Patrick comes on, I just
Yes.
want to say on the latter part of your meeting, I think we talked about this. Plota has been replaced with Tim Andrews,
Okay.
and Jim has been replaced with Jason Hicks. And
Okay.
they will be at our next meeting. I will reach out to them. I will talk to them, tell them about CAC, and then they will be at our October meeting. We will set up a orientation for them and Dr. Jackson and Kishana to talk about what we're doing with CAC and that type of thing. We were just waiting for those 2 seats to be filled before we actually started the process of the orientation.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. And I have their name
Dr.
as Tim.
Jackson is raising her hand.
I do have a question about some form of a formal identification or badge or name tag or something like that to present when I'm going on tours. I was lucky to be with Jessica that day, but you know, this day and time, I just, you know, people are just like, who are you? Where are you here from? You know, I like.
Jim, can you hold up your badge that I saw you with tonight? We do order badges for the CAC. I mean, not badges, I'm sorry, nameplates that we have for the CAC.
Okay.
And so we were waiting for everybody to get appointed so that we could make one order.
Okay.
To get those out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Dr. Harmon?
Yes, thanks, Aurel. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys this evening about this proposed project that we've been developing over the last few months, really over the summer. And I presented this presentation to the Prosperity and Livability Committee last Wednesday, but I've been talking with our city council members for a while about this proposal as well. So we're calling this the bridge, and I'll explain why later on. So Aurel already talked about this part. This is a comprehensive community-based center addressing healthy food access, healthy living, and job skills as well, and then youth development. As you guys know, the police station is being moved out to Westchester, and there's going to be this lovely vacant building in the near future that can be deployed for really a big community purpose. And then, of course, also on that campus, there's a Moorhead Recreation Center that can be heavily utilized as well for this project. So there's 3 major partners for this bridge project, and that's the Hayden Harmon Foundation, which is why I'm here tonight, Growing High Point, and then Resilience High Point. And I'll explain a little bit more about these 3 entities in a minute. And of course, we'll have an advisory and planning committee with residents, city officials, and other community leaders and partner organizations. There's lots of planning to be done for this project if the city were to fund it. So the Hayden Harmon Foundation, we've been working in the core city for over a decade now. Here's kind of the list of some of the things we've done over the years. Invested over $2.5 million in people, programs, and property. That's probably an understatement, truthfully, because that doesn't include my time. And so we've been doing a lot of different things over the last decade, and you guys are probably aware of some of these things. So that's just some examples of the things we've done over the years and continue to do. Then Growing High Point, I know some of you guys did a visit recently with Willa to get a sense of what Growing High Point is doing. But that was started out as a Hayden Harmon Foundation initiative in 2016. Has really just grown by leaps and bounds, and it's really focused on core city areas, under-resourced communities. And we want to, there's the 3 E's we focus on: engagement, empowerment, and entrepreneurship, primarily centered around urban agriculture and food. As a lot of you probably know, there's a number of community gardens we support, urban farms with urban farm leaders. We have a food hub behind our office on Washington Street, greenhouse. We just started an apiary down on White Oak. And then the mobile grocery store, Grodega, which you guys help fund. So thank you very much for that. And that got kicked off in March. And that's stopping at different places around the city. There's 10 stops a week. for Grodega. And then the more recent foundation initiative is called Resilience High Point. And that's really to get people to work together collaboratively, so we can sort of create a network, a web, if you will, of sources and resources for folks to help people thrive in High Point, to get them what they need for themselves and their families. And we did a lot of work before COVID with convenings to get people to kind of learn more about each other and to develop collaborative opportunities. Of course, COVID has interrupted a lot of this work, and we've been doing Zoom events like everybody else. But in the early days of the pandemic, we did create the High Point Resources website, kind of keep people updated on what was going on with COVID and the restrictions of what different community groups were doing, providing for people. And so that's been going since then. And also, as you guys know, since you funded this sanitation station initiative that we did for 9 months to serve our homeless folks to kind of reduce the odds of COVID-19 transmission. That was initially going to be just a couple of months, but we were able to stretch the dollars, and the Guilford County helped with some CARES grant money as well. So that actually lasted 9 months. So the reason that we ended up calling this the bridge is we're talking about bridging gaps in community resources and providing people access to those needed services. And so we really want people to move beyond surviving to thriving. And that's what Resilience High Point's about. And that's what this project would be about at this police station. So I think one of the things we've learned in the last couple of years with COVID-19 has sort of highlighted inequities and disparities in our community, but really across the nation, that were certainly there beforehand, but really sort of got right in our face because of the pandemic. So the ability to access healthy food and reasonably priced food has become more difficult. And also we realized how fragile our food system was. You probably saw stories about farmers dumping milk because the schools were closed, and that in such a big system is very fragile, and it doesn't really serve our needs a lot of times. And then with the healthy services, so typically if you live in a food desert, you're probably also in the medical desert. So you're probably not getting the medical services that you need to get. And so there's higher hospitalization rates for chronic diseases that happen in under-resourced communities. One of the things we did in the early days of Resilience High Point was a needs assessment. So we could that was sort of guide our work, addressing community needs. And this is a statistic that really popped out to Councilman Holmes the other day, that between census block groups, there's a range of life expectancy from 70 to 87 years. That's 17 years, and that is a mind-blowing statistic, and really speaks to why we need to have something like this in our community. And support for youth, that was also a big thing that came out of the needs assessment, that if you build sort of buffers with young people, that become more resilient, and you can teach them skills on how to be more productive as they grow. And so there's lots of opportunities out, Moorhead Recreation Center, and with a lot of the youth serving programs that we work with to really have an impact over at this site. Well, I moved you guys over, and there we go. Okay. So this is this kind of a graphic, sort of summarizes it all in one place. So you get a notion of the potential partners for this initiative. And then we have the 3 areas of food access, health services, and support for youth, and the different outcomes that I'll talk about in a minute, and things we're trying to do. And certainly there will be more potential partners. With this effort, I've talked to a lot of people already. The people on this list I've actually talked to about being potential partners, but there's certainly a lot more folks that I'm going to be talking to about this project. So to talk a little bit about the healthy food access. So we're proposing to create a model farm, which is right behind the police station. This is not the athletic fields at Moorhead. It's right behind their garage. It's a pretty good area to develop a model farm to train apprenticeships, and these will be paid apprenticeships. With Grodega, we're trying to source local food as much as possible, and this will help us do that. And then we'll have, we have neighborhood farm stands, and our farmers sell at the farmers market on Saturdays, and we're looking at doing home delivery as well. And And then we can also at some point serve restaurants if we start aggregating from other nearby farms. And then another thing that's been talked about a lot, the small scale manufacturing task force had a subgroup looking at shared use kitchens. That's been a topic of conversation at High Point for a while. And it's been on our to-do list with growing High Point too, because in the summertime, you got tomatoes coming out your ears, and what are you going to do with them? Because you can't sell them all, but you can make salsa, that sort of thing. So the idea is to create a shared use kitchen, develop value-added products, and also serve as an incubator for folks who have good cookie recipes or really good lasagna recipes, and sort of develop some agribusinesses and take people sort of soup to nuts on business planning to try out their business and sort of escalate and scaffold that up into bigger and bigger things. So there's some of the outcomes. Certainly food insecurity is a big part of why growing High Point is doing what it's doing, and certainly increasing access to healthy foods as well. But there's the whole entrepreneurship side of this effort is really is in the agribusiness and the growing High Point sphere. Because a food hub, a fully functioning sort of heavy duty full-time food hub employs 25, 30 people. So you're gonna have truck drivers, bookkeepers, marketing people, logistics people. So it can create quite a few jobs over time. And then the increasing access to health services. We want to have opportunities for people to learn about healthy lifestyles through some of the organizations that I've been meeting with, because it's not just going to see the doctor, it's also learning how to sort of be healthy with your diet and exercise and nutrition and that sort of thing. And then I've also been meeting with the High Point University, a lot of the health sciences folks, physician assistant, physical therapy, the pharmacy folks, the dental program that's going to be coming online in the near future. So we're meeting with a lot of those folks, and they're very, very excited about the potential of this project. You can see the outcomes down there about better health and better habits and better family functioning. One of the things that happens if you don't have a medical home, you end up going to the emergency room for your primary medical care, and that's very expensive. And then the last one is increasing support for youth. And so a lot of this is just taking youth serving organizations and having them do some of the program, principally probably at a Moorhead Recreation Center. And you see the list of what some of these folks do with academic support and physical activity. We'd like to have some of the youth work on the model farm in the summer as a paid apprenticeship, and then doing the leadership development type stuff as well. And potentially summer jobs, the Parks and Recreation. I know that's a big need they have every summer to find youth to work some of the jobs. So you see the outcomes there with better health and skill development and leadership skills. And a big thing I've learned over the last decade or so working in neighborhoods is the outreach part. You know, we do, well, when it's not COVID, we do a lot of door knocking in our neighborhood, and we've done door knocking for the Food Summit. And, you know, the Vax Connect, YWCA, they've been real successful with that. That's really going door to door, building relationships with people. And so I'm proposing a couple of staff to actually do that full time and build relationships with these various groups, and to do events at the bridge and draw attention to the bridge. And the last one is a police substation. That's really about improving relationships between law enforcement and the general public. That'd be the main thrust for that, to still have a police presence over there. All right, so I'm a big believer in utilizing existing assets. We talked about this really, but the police station is quite a large facility. And again, there's that land behind the building for the model farm, and the garage will be a lovely food hub. And then of course, Moorhead Recreation Center. If you guys remember last year, it was proposed at one time to close Moorhead Recreation Center because it's the least utilized. So the idea is to partner with the city to do a lot of different kinds of programming that ties in with what they're doing already, but just sort of amplify and extend and expand what is possible over at the rec center. So just real quickly, I mean, just get a sense of the staffing that we're proposing. So our foundation will be overseeing the development of this staffing. And I'm not going to read that to you, but I mean, there'll be 6 positions to do the different components, because a lot of it beyond the food stuff, it's a lot of coordination and getting different organizations to do different things at the site. You know, the Family Justice Center is the same sort of way. They have 3 staff, but they have other organizations come in and do the services around domestic abuse and sexual violence and that sort of thing in the sheriff department. They don't actually sort of pay those organizations to do their work. And I do want to point out the fund development specialist as well to develop external funding, because you'll see that in a minute why that is. And then for the food side of things, there's the four positions as well to sort of facilitate that. Because there's one thing to teach somebody how to farm, but there's also the business side of farming and how you're going to make some money. Even if it's just supplemental income, there's a lot to be learned on the business side. And so that's going to be a big component of that, and making partnerships with other organizations as well about that. So we're proposing, as you guys probably know, the city of High Point is getting about $22 million, the American Rescue Plan funds. And these funds are really meant to address COVID, things that were impacted by the pandemic, disparities and inequities and the like. I mean, there's a lot of different possible uses, and the Treasury still hasn't finalized their guidelines. But I doubt it's going to change that much from what I've listed here, that if you're doing these things, it's a great fit for the American Rescue Plan funds. I just think this is the time to really go be bold with this opportunity that the federal government's presented us. And so this is a bold vision for what can be done for our community. So I share with this for the city council, because even though I think it's a bold and innovative thing we're proposing, but there are other cities are using the equity lens with some of this money to do different things, not just fill a budget deficit. So here's just a few examples that about St. Louis and working with the homelessness and youth programming, affordable housing, and city parks in Buffalo. So that's just an example that other cities are planning on using some of this money for these kind of purposes. And so the ask I made of the city, close to $4 million over 5 years, because the ARP funds, you have 5 years to spend the money. This is kind of the breakdown between staffing and operational costs. Capital costs is a bit of guess. We haven't actually been into the police station to see what's what and what needs to be. And I need to get the health sciences folks over there to kind of see what is possible as well. But that's my best guess at the moment. And so that's kind of the bridge proposal. And I'll stop sharing, and if anybody has any questions. I will say, the county is also getting a big chunk of money, and they're doing listening sessions and get ideas for people. And I've been talking to some county commissioners about this as well. Somebody have any questions for me? I know that was a lot. I can certainly share this PowerPoint with the group through email too.
Yes, if you don't mind, Dr. Harmon, that'll be great.
Yeah, I got a question. What's the time frame for the bridge to open? When do we want to have that open?
That's a good question, Rob. Well, I guess there's two parts to that. I mean, I think Growing High Point is the model farm. A lot of the food stuff can start fairly shortly after, assuming if the project's agreed to, that can start year one, because that's really an amplification of what Growing High Point's already doing or been planning to do. If I share with you the vision document from Growing High Point, you will see pretty much everything I've talked about. It's just definitely amplified. And then the other ones, it's going to be a lot of planning, particularly the health area. There's a lot of planning to be done, figure out what's what. And then the youth is kind of in between those two, because we can start doing some programming over there just to get people used to going over there. But I would imagine we could do some pop-up sort of health-related events, in the first year while the planning is going on. Because I think it's really important to get people accustomed to what this might be, and that's a place to go, and get people acclimated to going over there and being part of something that's really good, with different activities and programs and fun events and that sort of thing. So a lot of PR stuff in the first year, but I think fully operational, probably sometime in year 2 is my guess. I'm going over, I met with Catherine Johnson from the Family Justice Center the other week, just talk shop, because this is maybe in a broader sense, kind of their model, that, kind of one-stop shop idea. And then I'm going to get a tour of the Family Justice Center next week as well, to kind of learn about that process. And she shared with me some business plans that they did, which is helpful as well. That's a long-winded answer, Rob. But, so, but I didn't know I was long-winded, but yeah. So some stuff the first year, but hopefully, you know, by sometime end of year 2 would be fairly fully functional. I mean, I'm sure over time things might get added as well. So I've been talking to local funders as well, or will be in the next week, just to give them a heads up about some of the stuff that I think will fit their mission.
So we're thinking 2023?
Yes. I mean, part of it depends on, you know, the city has to figure out how they're going to spend or make some commitments with this money. And so part of that depends on when that commitment is made. Because if it's, let's say it's next spring, then obviously it probably is 2023 before some other things happen. I think it'll be critical, hopefully, if it is funded, to really go ahead and sort of have a lot of activity over there. Just to, because otherwise people say, oh, you got that big money and nothing's going on over there. So I would definitely want to have some activity, and certainly not at the level it will be from the get-go.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I just have one question for you. You had mentioned about partnering with Moorhead Recreational Center. And I was just curious to see, you know, how that partnership would help, and you know what your plan is, and is it more administrative, or how do you plan to use that partnership?
Yeah, I think just to coordinate programmatic activities, just kind of fill in the gaps with where there could be things going on with youth, or it could just not be beyond youth. So this probably a lot of planning meetings with Parks and Rec about what is possible over there. I mean, it's a great facility, and this, you know, the athletic fields are great, and so there's lots of possibilities. But again, that's a bit of planning to be done. Maybe some kind of memorandum of understanding between the two. And we're not proposing to take it over or anything. That is not what we're saying. So we're clear about that. But yeah, we just want to be a good partner. I mean, that's all the foundation's ever tried to do, is partner with folks.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So the partnership would be mainly to gain use of the Moorhead Center for when you do have activities.
That's correct. Yeah. And I hope, I mean, some of the activities that are going on there now, you know, with the marketing, I would imagine we can increase participation at the things that are actually going on there now, because it'll be a bigger voice. It could be amplified that, you know, X, Y, and Z, Parks and Rec is doing this, and we have, because a lot of kids will be coming there for other purposes, and they could find out kind of what's going on at Moorhead. So, I mean, kind of, you know, synergy, I guess is what the word I'm looking for.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Harmon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
For informing us. Yeah, no problem. We're always happy to hear what's going on in our neighborhoods, especially within our neighborhood and our neighborhood groups. You know, so we want to make people informed. So thank you for the information that you shared with us today. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. Let's get the community development and housing updates. We'll get it from Miss Nina.
Friday plus it will start now. But we don't really have any major updates right now. As you know, I'm just returning, just got back on Monday, got back to the office on Monday. Mike went out today. So we are kind of like two ships passing in the night, but we will have more information for you once I kind of transition back in, and I'll have more information for you next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Nina.
And if there are any questions, if anybody has any questions, I would certainly
sure
to address.
Sure. Is there any questions from this panel for Miss Nina? Okay. So Miss Nina, I think. Oh, go ahead, bro.
I have a question. And this is regarding the CARES money that was awarded to the city of High Point. Is there any timetable as to when we want to, I guess, spend this money, or are we looking at certain things to use this money for?
Okay, when we talk about the CARES money, there were two. Are you speaking of the second round that we got? Because the first round, you all allocated to public services and those types of things. So when we look at the $588,000 that we still have, as you know, we amended our plan and submitted a proposal for a day center. Well, the property that we were looking at is no longer available. So we're kind of having to back up and punt a little bit when it comes to that. But we also have been approached by our homeless service providers regarding winter shelter. And so that's something that I think that we may look at proposing to you all down the road, maybe in the next month or so, using a portion of the funds for the homeless winter shelter. And when it comes to the time frame of the spending, we do have a couple years for the CARES money. Now, the ARP money, it's a longer term, but the CARES money, we will be looking at doing something with that in the shorter term. With the winter shelter, it wouldn't take the full 588. So the other thing that we have to think about is if we do amend the amendment, what do we, propose to do with the additional funding? Right, we're looking at possibly 200,000 for the winter shelter. That's what we've kind of discussed as staff. So that would leave about $388,000 and some change for some other project. And whether or not that would still go into acquisition or something for a day center right now, because we don't have a site, we're just not sure. So we're working on it, and we have a little bit of time to spend the funds, but like I said, those will be spent, in the shorter term versus the ARP money.
Okay. Second part, is there any possibility, and I've asked this before, but is there a possibility we can increase the CDBG dollars that we offer the nonprofits?
That is something we'd have to look at our overall budget. As we get increases, which we do hope that we will get an increase in our CDBG allocation. We're just not sure right now what that would be moving forward. But if you're talking about the current budget year, that budget is already set. We've submitted our action plan and all of that has already been approved. So it would have to be in a subsequent year. But for the current year, beginning July 1, it's been pretty much set. Now, if we have other projects or something for whatever reason that does not come to fruition and we can reprogram funds, that's definitely something that we could take a look at. And I'll talk with Mike. We can talk with Mike about that when he returns.
Thank you.
But I'll definitely keep that out there as a point for discussion.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for Ms. Nina? All right, thank you. So Ms. Nina, we'll just be following up with you and Mike for next month. And I'm pretty sure y'all will have more of an update as well.
Yes. Like I said, Mike and I have not had much time together these last 3 days. So we definitely will.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Going next on our agenda is City Council updates. I don't see Councilman Jefferson. No, I do not. Is there anyone from the staff that has any updates from City Council? Okay, I see a no. Okay, we'll move forward. So next on the agenda is we have announcements. Is there any announcements that anyone would like to share?
Well, I have one thing. Mr. Belton is listening in.
Oh, he is. Okay, good.
He just cannot talk from where he's listening in from. So he's actually here, but cannot respond to anything that we're doing.
Okay. Mr. Belton, thank you. And if there's a way, even if you can text us or something, if you have any information, If you can do so, please do so. All right.
Um,
Is there any? Go ahead.
Hey, this is Molly. I can give him permission to talk through Zoom. It just had a phone number, so I wasn't sure it was him, but if he's listening, I'm gonna give him the permission now to talk on here.
Thank you, Molly.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Belton. Mr.
Belton
Belton,
here.
are you there? Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Thank you very much for you.
Thank you. Is there any announcement or anything that you would like to share as you've been listening to our presentation?
No.
Okay. And just one more thing, just for the folks to know, Mr. Belton, can you share with them which ward you're representing?
Thank you very much. I'm at large.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Belton. The next meeting that we're going to have, CSC meeting, is going to be on October 25th. It's going to be October 25th. So please mark your calendars. One of the things I do want to share with everyone that's listening is to just be aware and to we have information. This is about information about the community that we serve, which is your community. We are your neighbors. Okay. So if you have anything that you would like to bring to us, or if you hear anything, bring it to us, and we can not only discuss it here, but we can get you the information that you may need. As the people that you see around here, including the community development and housing, they are here. Okay, so once again, we're here for you. So if you have any questions or anything, let us know, and we can get that information shared here. Okay.
Brother
And
Chairman.
well, I'm sorry. I would just
Brother
like
Chairman,
to,
what was that date again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's October 25th.
That's a Monday.
That's a Monday. Yeah.
I'm sorry, then that's my fault.
Oh,
That's a Monday then, hold on.
Okay, so I guess it's gonna be. Is that October 28th then?
Yes,
Probably.
October 28th.
Okay. All right. That works.
Sorry,
Thank-
guys, that's my
thank you.
fault. October the 28th is right. I guess I was thinking the neighborhood leaders meeting.
Well, yeah, that works too, because we're still gonna be there too, right?
Yeah.
Aurel, I do want to
Yes.
say, I could have a quick announcement. So the
Sure.
11th annual Unity Festival is going to be held down on Washington Street.
Right.
Saturday, October 9th from noon to 4. It's going to be, we trimmed it down this year, a little smaller. So it's going to be a Mount Zion parking lot, but just music
Good.
and some vendors and resources and a kid zone, just a bit of fun from noon to 4 on Saturday, October 9th. So come out and have some fun with us.
Okay, great. October 9th. And once again, Dr. Hayman, what time did you say that's gonna be?
It's noon to 4.
Noon to 4. Got it.
Okay, so that's
Yes,
the
Michelle.
second time. That's the second time something has been stolen from me tonight, because I was gonna do that announcement. but
Oh,
thank you-
sorry.
Thank you,
What?
Dr. Harmon.
I'm on the
And,
I'm on the planning committee. They'd get mad at me if they knew what
And
it was up to.
and the other thing that got stolen from me was the neighborhood leaders meeting at the thing. So thank you, Rob. The other thing was the police department was having their community day on the 25th, but that's been canceled. So I don't know if they're gonna reschedule, but at this point, it's been canceled due to COVID. So that won't take place.
Okay, thank you. Miss Jessica is not here. As some of y'all know, she is actually preparing for High Point Market. And as we know, High Point Market is gonna be going next month. Okay. Is there any other announcements?
I'd like to say something, Chairman Henry.
Sure. Yes, go ahead.
And this goes to Mr. Bronner and to Clodagh. I want to thank you guys for your service, especially you, Jim, because you definitely have put in a lot of years on this CAC. And so I appreciate the time you spent with us. And, I thank you for all you've done. Look forward to hearing from you again. But again, I want to say my thanks to you and, appreciate all the service that you've done.
All right, thank you, Rob. Mr. Belton, do you have anything to share before we make a motion to adjourn?
just wanted to say also, it's been a pleasure working with the group and those who are presently not being reassigned or for whatever reason that they're not there. Many thanks go out. I think the fact that we have a nice variety of folk with a large variety of thoughts and ideas, it has been a pleasure working. I hope that whatever they're going to pursue, that they will continue to be successful with it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Belton.
And Aurel, I would like to say that for those of you who did not pick up your Trust First books, I still have them. I think most of you have. There's only been a couple of people that have not. And even though the activities have been complete and I think it was a good activity and I hope a lot of people participated, I still have your books. And so just let me know when you need to stop by the office and pick up a book. I still think that you still should read the book. So I have your book.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I just want to echo what Michelle said is definitely get that book and read it. It is real life. One of the things I do want to share is I lived in Atlanta close to that area, literally next door. So many things that were shared in the book, I actually experienced and saw real time. But you know, we're grateful for the ministry that Dr. Deal has done and what he has done for that area locally there in Atlanta. But definitely get the book, guys.
And thanks to Patrick, because between him and the library, they actually put this on, that it came from them, and they had a lot of people in the city reading that book. So hopefully it will take us to the next level in our thinking and in our planning and everything else that we want to do in the city of High Point.
Yes, thank you. Okay, guys, is there a motion to adjourn?
So motion.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. This meeting is adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good evening, y'all.
Night.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.